NTA. You can't beat the rich.
You are watching NTA, Nigerian Television Authority. For more information and news updates, visit our website at www.nta.ng, or you can follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now, or you can like us on Facebook at NTA Network News. Stay connected on our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our live stream at www.nta.ng/live. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Longest lunar eclipse for the 21st century happening about now across the world.
Isoko is the second place where oil was discovered in 1958. For more than 57 years, we don't have anything to show for the oil we have in our land.
13% derivation application. President Buhari promises equitable distribution of projects in the Niger Delta. Plus, hope of peace of the 10 billion naira federal rehabilitation fund for ravaged communities of Nasarawa South Senatorial District. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News. Reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria. I'm Nancy Godi Angonihu. Reading with me tonight are from Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, and Ogochukwuka Ona will be reaching us from Benin. We have Asmau Habibu Shagari reaching us from Sokoto. Here we go. President Muhammadu Buhari says the 13% derivation benefit to the Niger Delta region promised or provided for in the nation's constitution will be looked into with a view to ensuring even spread of developmental projects that meet the needs of the people. The president stated this while receiving Isoko traditional rulers and other stakeholders led by their paramount ruler. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The royal fathers and other stakeholders of Isoko ethnic nationality of the Niger Delta were in the State House to make a strong case for redressing what they called some anomalies in the spread of development projects in the region. President Muhammadu Buhari assured his guests that the constitutional provisions for Niger Delta development will be carefully studied for inclusiveness, especially in the prioritization of federal government projects. Consequently, he promised to update himself with details of developments in the area, especially as it relates to oil and gas, as well as lack of infrastructure. As he puts it, we will look at the constitutional 13% derivation and what previous governments have done in order to know what next to do. President Buhari also expressed surprise that Isoko Kingdom is not adequately captured in the federal government appointments in spite of its numerous qualified indigents that have distinguished themselves in various professional and entrepreneurial skills in the country. And on this, President Buhari said he will do his best. Spokesperson for the Royal Fathers and President General of Isoko Development Union, Chief Idu Amade, commended President Muhammadu Buhari for performing well in leadership but used the opportunity to intimate him on some burning issues in Isoko land.
Isoko is the second place where oil was discovered in 1958. But if you go to Isoko today, you will weep for them. So for more than 57 years, we don't have anything to show for the oil we have in our land. And we have come to appeal to Mr. President to right the wrong so that some of the projects in our area can be given attention. We came begging Mr. President to talk to MPDC and NNPC to go and commence an oil field that has been, abandoned for almost, 10, 15 years. And up to now, the communities are protecting the facility. You cannot hear anything about vandalism or kidnapping in our area. It's not in Isoko at all. So we're asking Mr. President to reward us for being a peaceful ethnic nation.
He also made a case for the establishment of a gas plant and modular refinery in the area for job opportunities as well as enhanced economic fortune. Other requests from the community includes the provision of road network as well as fair share in the amnesty program. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Now taking stock of some diplomatic achievements, the federal government has expressed formal appreciation to the Republic of France for its genuine commitment to strong regional cooperation and collaboration in the fight against terrorism and cross-border crimes. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this while exchanging views with the outgoing ambassador of France to Nigeria, Denis Guerre. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo once more reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari said Nigeria cannot thank the French government enough for its immense contributions to peace, security, and stability in the West African sub-region. He said apart from training, information and intelligence sharing, as well as technical and equipment support to Nigeria, France has also encouraged regional cooperation amongst the country's francophone neighbors aimed at addressing the security challenges and humanitarian conditions. The president said Nigeria and France would continue to maintain cordiality for improved economic, cultural, and political ties in the interests of both countries and their citizens. He used the opportunity to formally congratulate France for winning the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. The outgoing French envoy, Denis Guerre, harped on the positive trends in Nigeria's economy, saying more French companies have indicated interest to do business in Nigeria. He said the French Agency for Development alone has so far provided over $2 billion facility for projects in Nigeria. The envoy said arrangements have been concluded for the establishment of a cinema school in Lagos, as well as some museums around the country, in addition to formalizing an agreement on film production. President Muhammadu Buhari also received on a farewell visit the outgoing ambassador of Finland to Nigeria, Mrs. Piro Sumela Chauri. He underscored the Finnish government's support to gender and educational issues in the country. Ambassador Sumela Chauri told President Buhari that she enjoyed her stay in Nigeria and will continue to promote Nigeria-Finnish relations. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And on to technological advancement, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says Nigeria is on the right path to creating a data-driven economy that will lead the way, not in Africa only, but globally. The Vice President said this while receiving Google management team and some selected governors. Elsewhere, at a dialogue in health, the Vice President says the National Insurance Scheme and technology remain key to driving the nation's health sector. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
The partnership with Google was essential as it would, along with other Nigerian broadband providers, help the country in achieving extensive broadband coverage. The Vice President said the country has the people, the talent, and government that sees the potential very clearly and showed the determination to unlock that potential. The Vice President points out that every step taken to democratize technology is a quantum leap in the African development story. and a major contribution to global stability and growth. So many innovation hubs, he said, have been opened in various parts of the country, and millions of Nigerian youths are being trained. Governor of Kebbi State and some of the stakeholders comment on the partnership.
Google have already deployed the pre-service in some public spaces, and the issue is how to do more in a number of states, like I said, without crowding out our internet service providers, without crowding out our investors who have invested in this, and without creating a monopoly.
The meeting focused more on how the federal government and even state government can benefit from Google. Google launched their free Wi-Fi access in Nigeria, in Lagos, and that will be extended to other places like Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Kano, Ibadan. And this is free access.
The world is changing. Technology is playing a critical role in growth, and it's important that Nigerians have the opportunity to benefit from and participate in the digital economy.
At another event where funding and the deployment of technology in providing services in the health sector were the focus, the Vice President emphasizes the determination of the Buhari administration in implementing the Nigerian Social Insurance Scheme.
It is important that we must bear in mind that budgeting, no matter how much it is, because we simply do not have the resources. This is why it's important that we take seriously the National Health Insurance Scheme. For us as a government, this is an important policy initiative, and we intend to implement it.
The event was jointly organized by the Ministry of Health, World Bank, and this day. In Abuja, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And Nigeria is among the nations currently witnessing the 2018 Lunar Eclipse, which commenced a little over 2 hours ago and is expected to develop into full eclipse in the next 15 minutes or thereabouts. Here is our science correspondent, Kirian Umayo, with more details.
This was the appearance of the eclipse at about 7 p.m. Nigerian town in the Federal Capital Territory. But information reaching us from spokesman of National Space Research and Development Agency, Dr. Felix Ale, indicates that the eclipse will reach its peak at about 9:21 p.m. tonight and wane from then until 12:30 a.m. of tomorrow, 28th of July, making it the longest lunar eclipse of the 21st century. This is how the eclipse will look like when fully developed. This period of totality makes the moon to turn red, hence the appellation of blood moon, and may occasionally turn ruddy brown. You can watch this spectacular planetary event from any part of Nigeria. The next eclipse will be witnessed in Nigeria in January 2019. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
And we hope to see the next eclipse happen. We thank you, Kirian, for bringing us up to speed with the developments there. Now, checking out legislative activities, the bill for an act to establish the Maritime Security Agency may have more hurdles to scale beyond second reading at the House of Representatives as major stakeholders withdraw support to the proposed bill. This was at a public hearing organized by the House Committee on Maritime Safety, Education and Administration. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports.
The proposed Maritime Security Agency establishment bill seeks to provide security, safety information and communication facilities for all categories of operatives of the Nigerian maritime industry and for related matters. Representative Etam Bora from Cross River State is the sponsor of the bill.
The operation is structured in such a manner that it will have less or non-funding impact on the federal government.
There are countries in the world all over that has administrative functions, they have their navies, and they also have maritime security agencies.
Creating another agency similar to NIMASA will create additional financial burden on the federal government.
More importantly, setting up a new agency will be inimical to the ease of doing business.
The committee also observed that the agency yet to be established by law is already operational.
It's an aberration of the law. It's wrong. You are not military, you are not paramilitary, you have not even been approved by a law. So you don't just come and think that there is a jungle, you just don't know. We can't take that. And that is why we're having issues. Insecurity. You see people with different, you don't even know the kind of uniforms people are using.
The utility uniform has been approved. That is what you are seeing wearing. The India data, the identity has been approved by government, by the federal government, and we have the document. They are all attached to this I'm submitting.
For the interest of peace, would have asked all those that are dressed in uniforms that have not been approved by this parliament to either leave or to be arrested. But we want to make correction. We cannot let things get worse.
Speaker Yakub Dogara, in a message, expressed optimism that the committee will put in perspective concerns raised by the public to enable the House to take appropriate decision on the legislative proposal. From the National Assembly, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And towards bringing succor to the afflicted, Governor Umaru Enko Almakura of Nasarawa State has assured communities adversely affected by farmers' herders' conflict to benefit from the 10 billion naira rehabilitation fund by the federal government. He stated this at the distribution of another round of relief materials to 18 Tiv communities in the southern senatorial zone. Joshua Ojito reports.
5 local government areas in the southern zone of Nasarawa State were affected by the farmers' herders' crisis that ravaged many communities. With normalcy gradually returning to the communities, Governor Umaru Almakura, while presenting relief materials to the displaced persons, says federal government has already sent the prototype of the block of houses to be built in the affected communities.
Nasarawa State is also helping in another way to ensure that those in the hinterland have access to their homestead by deploying the Rural Development Agency to get the roads cleared and ensure easy access to various destinations.
He therefore urged the displaced persons to promote peaceful and harmonious coexistence with their neighbors to enable government to rehabilitate the communities. To sustain the relative peace in the communities, additional security bases will be established in flashpoints for regular patrol and surveillance. Governor Almakura urged them to judiciously use the relief materials provided, as more materials will be supplied to them in order to cushion their hardship. The Tiv communities in the state appreciate government for the interventions and pledge to live in peace. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And taking a look ahead, 204 days to the February 16, 2019 general elections in Nigeria. More endorsements for President Buhari. Details when we return.
A famous boxer once said, "The fight is won once you step into the ring." It takes massive investment, dedication, never backing down. In 2005, Glow invested in the world's only privately owned undersea data cable, then connected this to its extensive fiber optic network throughout Nigeria, delivering flexible and affordable data and generous airtime bonuses for everyone. You see, it's not what you step into the ring with that makes you the master. It's everything you did to get you there. Glow Yakata. Get up to 6 gigabytes free data every month for 6 months and 2,200 naira bonus for every 100 naira recharge to call all networks where talkers and browsers live. The largest data network, Glow, Grandmasters of Data.
Within the city center of Maiduguri, some critical infrastructure like roads and bridges were single lanes, which predictably led to traffic congestion. Now the situation is changing. The popular Damboa Road is being reconstructed, expanded and dualized. Fori Road and Bridge have been constructed to create new alternatives for interlink. The famous Lagos Street has been dualized and modernized. Another bridge was constructed from scratch. Street lights have been installed in different parts of the city center to improve communal security and socio-economic activities. This is another legacy of Governor Kashim Shettima.
please.
I got this, okay? Just...
Found it. Honey, you can keep him. I've got this.
Do anything to get your Airtel SIM back on if you haven't used it for 30 days or more to enjoy 20 times the recharge value. Recharge 100 Naira and dial *241# to get 2,000 Naira.
50? No, hurry, there's a girl.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Do you know that the Nigerian police now operates in the best international practices of policing? Do you know that the Nigerian police has been restructured to be more accountable and responsive to all your security challenges? Now, what the police demand from you is your trust, your collaborative efforts by providing necessary information about criminals and their activities in your neighborhood. Be vigilant. To achieve our creed as we promise, we shall police the country based on international core values of policing with integrity. We shall ensure that rule of law prevails in our actions and activities. We shall respect diversity, display courage, show compassion, and demonstrate professionalism. We shall operate within the principle of democratic policing. We shall shun corruption, and we shall make Nigeria safer and secured under the leadership of IGP Ibrahim Otum Idris.
Let the wind of change blowing across the country chase away crime for the benefit of our society. Yes, the Nigerian police says this change must come with peace and tranquility.
This message was brought to you by the Public Relations Department of the Nigerian Police Force.
Fake news which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hatred and misunderstanding between our communities. We are all responsible for stopping the spread of fake news in its tracks. So, always check the source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
The Buhari support campaign team is gathering momentum as more youth in Kwara State have declared their support for the second term bid of the president in 2019. Abdulwahid Bibire reports that a solidarity rally was held for President Muhammadu Buhari.
The peaceful solidarity rally began at the main entrance of the main bowl of the Kwara State Stadium Complex en route some street in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital. Addressing the mammoth crowd, the Director General of the group, George Towoju, said the rally became imperative in view of President Muhammadu Buhari's track record of achievement, especially the fight against corruption. Part of the reasons for the solidarity rally, he added, is to sensitize members of the public on the need to vote President Muhammadu Buhari come 2019.
We also declare our total support to our able president, President Muhammadu Buhari re-election bid, and we call on men and women of goodwill and conscience to rally around Mr. President in order to salvage the nation from the current political turbulence.
The group also reaffirmed their support for Alhaji Shuaib Yaman Abdullahi's governorship ambition in Kwara State come 2019. Abdulwahid Bibire, NTA News.
And National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Comrade Adams Oshomole, says the party will entrust leadership position to members with capacity to implement the party's ideology of delivering good governance. He re-emphasized this while addressing the media on the party's position over Benue State Governor Samuel Otom's resignation. Political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi reports that Comrade Oshomole says, in view of the political development in Benue State, the party is working hard to present a credible candidate that will govern the people based on the peculiarity of their needs. Purposeful leadership that is focused on tackling insecurity, objective managing of ethnic diversity based on national cohesion and integration, and equal distribution of state resources to better lives and boost economy will be the party's task for the people.
Projects, among others, in Benue, they have only visited to pay condolence visits because there have been no projects on ground. It is okay to lament the absence of federal presence. What is the explanation for absence of state presence in Benue State? And that raises the question, Can you be spending 22 billion in the name of security, and yet the people are more and more insecure? And so we now have a clean platform to look and search for a credible Benue citizen that can provide the kind of leadership that the great people of Benue State deserve. Not someone that seeks to make political capital out of human graves.
The APC national chairman says the party's doors are wide open for progressive members who believe in the change agenda. Meanwhile, the People's Progressive Party is advocating an all-inclusive government by enshrining in the Constitution the rights of citizens to directly control the party's and country's laws through referendum and plebiscite in order to promote good governance. Chairman of the party, Dr. Damian Uzoma Obunna, made the proposal at the party's National Executive Council meeting in Abuja. Aliyu Tukur was there.
Barred from contesting election in 2012, the People's Progressive Party is now eligible after a judicial battle that restored it as a political party. Already the party is planning for future election, and this is what this National Executive Council of the party deliberated on. The party says there is need to decentralize governance and that citizens should be allowed to elect leaders based on competence with or without a political party.
Now, what we're promising Nigerians is a complete shift. It's freedom, it's liberty. How you have a right to sit down and have a say in how government spends your money in the budgetary items, in the projects. So we have things that has to do with promises that has to do with giving people power to control things, not giving people things to eat.
The party says it remains committed to advancing the principles of freedom that will promote good governance and yield dividends of democracy to the people. In Abuja, Aliyu Tukur, NTA News.
And bringing gender into focus as the 2019 general elections and the country draw near, political activities are heightening. One issue that is dominating the discourse is how women can win elections in a male-dominated society come 2019. Chazala Mekia reports that this echoed at a conference in Abuja.
Globally, women seem to be few in national and local decision-making bodies, and oftentimes they shy away from political processes despite representing half the global population. Changing the narrative informed this convergence of women across all strata of society, a movement poised to give the feminine gender the needed support at all levels. The meeting is advocating the strengthening of women's rights and barriers to political participation, which they say is critical to achieving gender equality.
The theme of this occasion is appropriately in tandem with the efforts of the women on the need of compassionately getting involved in not only the political activities, but to seek for elective offices.
But despite the larger block of the electorate, women occupy less than 7% of positions in government and elective appointees in Nigeria.
If gender can actually be taken into consideration, bringing women to make sure that their potential are properly utilized, the issue of economic growth will be achieved.
We are inaugurating the state chapter called Women Can Lead campaign, where at the state, women will put pressure on politicians, on political parties, and ensure that women occupy elective offices.
It is the expectation of participants at this conference that there will be an increase in the number of women in decision-making positions in 2019. Chiazalam Ekiye, NTA News.
And still planning for the future, the Forum of Heads of Federal Government Establishments and Institutions Ondo State Chapter has organized a one-day program aimed at sensitizing the people of the state ahead of the 2019 general elections. To this end, the body has involved traditional rulers in the state towards achieving peaceful elections. Biola Ario reports.
Towards ensuring a free, fair and credible 2019 general elections, the forum felt it was time to educate the people of Ondo State in preparation for the election.
We have taken it upon ourselves at the Forum of Health of Federal Establishments to now begin to introduce our agencies to relevant stakeholders in the state for them to be able to make use of our facilities better than before so that we can add value to the society and enhance good governance.
The Ondo State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Rufus Akeju, while addressing the traditional rulers, said INEC on its part is ready to conduct a free and fair election come 2019. But it behoves on the rulers, being the gatekeepers and closest to the grassroots, to educate their subjects on the need to abide by the rules that guide elections.
When you get them, to carry your label them all over to their people. Our case is half won.
The forum provided opportunity for the monarchs to rub minds and ask questions on ways they can contribute meaningfully for a peaceful Nigeria. In Akure, Abiola Rio, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. Lagos is where we go next, and Jennifer is standing by. The ball is now in your court, Jennifer.
Thank you, Nancy. Good evening. Thank you for joining us in Lagos. The Nigerian Army has redefined training of its personnel to combat current security challenges that demand complex asymmetric offenses. The plan of action was contained in a message by the Chief of Army Staff to the graduating officers of the course 15-2018 of the Nigerian Army College of Logistics in Lagos. Lynn Lineke has details.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukru Buratai, who was represented by the Chief of Policy and Planning, stressed the importance of training in the military. He said in order to function effectively, combat force and development of competence for military operations must be prioritized.
Specifically, the establishment of the Army War College Nigeria and the Special Forces School, among others, come to mind. As we tackle the various security challenges confronting the nation, our training regimes must continuously evolve to address the emerging threat environment.
The Commandant, Nigerian Army College of Logistics, Major General Richard Duru, charged the officers to build on the basis of their professional foundation from the college by aligning with the new strategies.
There is no doubt that the students who are graduating today are well equipped to cope with the challenges that would likely confront them in future. They have been adequately prepared to hold logistics appointments in their respective course.
The graduating officers were subsequently decorated with past logistics staff course crest and inducted as members of the Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply Management of Nigeria. 24 officers participated in the 7 months intensive training. They have been equipped with skills to plan and execute logistics support for the Nigerian Army in joint and combined operations using modern management concepts and techniques. In Lagos, Lynn Lenake, NTA News.
New channels of trade and bilateral investments are opening for Nigeria, and this portend well for economic growth. This was the view of the ECOWAS Commissioner for Infrastructure, Ebrima Nje, at the opening of Nigeria-Benin Joint Border Post.
African kings, African stars, African heroes, African greatness, African legends. In Africa, our heroes are our legends. Daniel Amokachi, Samir IV, Raji Jaidi, and El Haj Diouf, Mustafa Haji, legends never leave the game. Experience the legendary game with Glow Data Unmatched. Glow, Grandmasters of Data.
When headache strikes, I remembered Mom's advice.
Son, don't let anything stop you.
Sudrex acts fast to relieve headaches. Sudrex, win your day.
Standards Organization of Nigeria, SON, brings a new lease of life to Nigeria SMEs. SON has put a greater premium on developing standards to improve made in Nigeria products for export. We have developed more standards for products like sesame, cocoa, gari, and more, courtesy of our accredited state-of-the-art laboratories. In keeping with the federal government's ease of doing business, SON has simplified its processes and turned around time for SUNCAP, MANCAP, and other certification processes. SON has intensified market surveillance, raids, and seizures to reduce substandard products in circulation, and offenders shall be prosecuted. Join SON in ridding our nation of substandard products. If you see something, say something. Standards Organization of Nigeria, improving lives through standards.
Kehinde suffers from indigestion. His twin Taiyi suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around, or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts for up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action.
Time don't reach again for the biggest event for top football matter. Now mobile pill and win. And as millions of people around the world they scatter their head on top their favorite teams, mobile won't make sure say you go hammer your own trophy big time. Whether you be mechanic, driver, even car owner. Now mobile pill and win. Just buy the 4-liter size of mobile super 1000 lubricant. Fill the front and back labels and you go see pin number. Text mobile plus the pin to 58123 and instanta you go win airtime. That pin where you send so go also qualify you for the raffle draw for mobile pill and win promo where you fit win tear rubber motor, generator, gas cooker, motorcycle, tricycle, smartphone and other prizes there. No be small thing o. Mobile promo go shele from the 15th of May go reach 31st of August 2018. The more mobile lubricant you buy, the more your chance to win. No dull yourself o. Make you dey feel, dey win, dey go. Terms and conditions dey sha o.
Make it mobile.
Thank you for staying with NTA Network News. We are live from Abuja. Now, to achieve the economic recovery and growth plan of the federal government, the development of the Niger Delta region is central, and all hands are gradually gathering momentum to realize the vision. This explains why critical stakeholders and implementing agencies are in Umuahia, Abia State, for the 3rd National Council on Niger Delta, from where Joseph Johnson reports.
Development in the Niger Delta region, despite huge investments in the past years, does not appear to show true reflection, and these stakeholders are analyzing the lingering impediments using this platform, the National Council on Niger Delta. Dr. Emmanuel Akbanabong is a representative of PANDEF, and he was at the 1st and 2nd councils in Akwa Ibom and Ondo states.
If we want development, there should be peace. For that reason, let us give a trial. Let us give government a chance. But we are also telling government that, look, this peace initiative cannot be guaranteed if nothing tangible is seen.
For the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Usani Uguru Usani, new challenges are emerging, and a review of the Niger Delta Development Master Plan has become necessary.
The demands are mounting higher because the demographics are increasing. Economic resources are also decreasing. There is need to solicit understanding of people of the region, such that agitation in violent methods will not help us.
It is the hope of Nigerians that at the end of the day, if the fresh ideas and recommendations gotten from this august gathering would not just be written on papers, but will be given life to and made tangible. From Umuahia, Abia State Capital, Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Thank you, Joseph. Now let's join Ogochukwuka in Benin for more reports. You're on, Ogochukwuka.
Thank you and welcome to Benin. Governor Godwin Obaseki says robust collaboration among stakeholders in the nation's health sector will bring about efficient service delivery across the healthcare value chain. The governor stated this at the annual General Scientific Conference of the Nigerian Medical Association, Edo State Chapter. Good luck, Enaini reports.
Governor Obaseki, who described the theme of the meeting, effective healthcare delivery in Edo State, as apt, said the idea of leaving the responsibility of healthcare system to only doctors will not yield the desired result, stressing that everybody should be involved in tackling the challenges from the primary healthcare system, which is the bedrock of the health sector. The governor explained that his administration has set up machinery to renovate, upgrade, and reconstruct the first 20 healthcare centers across the 18 local government areas of the state, in line with the federal government's policy of one primary healthcare center to a ward.
It is possible to change the prevailing challenges that we face in our healthcare delivery system, and that this can be achieved when we have a concerted effort by all stakeholders.
The governor harped on the need for a robust relationship between health workers and the state government in order to meet the yearnings of the people. In Benin, good luck in Aini, NTA News.
The first of its kind tech hub in the southwestern part of Nigeria, Accra Tech Hub, has been unveiled, and Ondo State government intends to tap from it by empowering youths through information communication technology. The project is a tripartite initiative between the state government, Federal University of Technology, Akure, and a non-governmental organization. Doris Olumoko has details.
Technology is constantly reinforcing regional trends in business, investment opportunities, and modernization, which in turn accelerates globalization. This is why the collaboration between Ondo State government, the Federal University of Technology, Akure Futa, and the NGO in providing the tech hub is apt.
Akure Tech Hub provides an opportunity for stakeholders, researchers, innovators, educators, and technology enthusiasts to meet, collaborate, and share practical ideas, aiding innovation to solve local problems.
The hub was set up to create an avenue for promotion of technological innovation, for exchange of ideas, for business startups, and expansion and empowerment of our youth.
Ondo State Governor, Mr. Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, explained that information communication technology would make great impact in the state. He said one of the transformational agenda of his government is to make the state a technology and innovation destination of choice for Africa. In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
We are done from here. Nancy is back to you.
Thank you, Ogochukwuka. Now, for spiritual uplift, arrangements have been concluded for Muslim pilgrims to begin movement to Mecca from Medina on Saturday. Musa Abubakar reports that Nasarawa State pilgrims have also arrived Medina for the 2018 Hajj exercise.
After going through all the necessary process of documentation and entertaining the thought of what it feels to be a pilgrim, the dream is finally here for these pilgrims from Nasarawa State. The pilgrims arrived in Jeddah International Airport and immediately proceeded to Medina. The Narcon team welcomed the August visitors, where they took them to their hotels. Meanwhile, the first batch have settled for temporary life in Medina, where they are all accommodated.
This environment is very conducive for us, and as we are here, we are enjoying the environment. Our mosque is very close to the hostel. Fine. They give us food. We have breakfast and dinner, and alhamdulillah.
The apartments, the parlor, we have enough, the toilet, they are okay. Kitchen, all of that things are very okay. We are very conducive, in short, very, very convenient.
The visit to Medina offers pilgrims the rewarding opportunity to pray in the Prophet's mosque and visit his tomb, as well as his companions. The city of Mecca is next, where pilgrims will perform the Umrah and Hajj, as more pilgrims are scheduled to be received in days to come. From Medina in Saudi Arabia, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
And now, business news.
Glad to have you join us on the business news segment. towards identifying solutions to address industry constraints and establish steps towards creating market environment conducive for improved fortified foods and enhanced business operations. Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Aisha Abubakar, says the federal government, in collaboration with the Nigerian industry policy, will reevaluate products along the supply chain of raw materials and finished products, with a view to reducing the cost of doing business.
The government has promised to go and review and see what they can do on it, because we've been told that some other countries have actually gotten to zero duty. But that depends on each country's circumstances. So we will go and look at our own and see what is feasible, and then we'll bring it back to the table by the time we meet next year. And they would commit to ensure that they fortify their own products, and government will also commit to making sure that whatever challenges that they have in the industry, which is basically to do with cost of premix and the nutrients, the government is able to do something to reduce their own cost of production.
Here we are supporting both technical assistance to companies so that if they have technical issues and trying to fortify foods, they can be resolved. And we're also supporting the government in independent monitoring to ensure that indeed industries are complying with the standards that have been set by the government.
And now to stock market reports. Equities closed Friday in the green, appreciating by 0.49%, with an all-share index of 36,604.51 basis points, valued at 3.15 billion naira. The volume of shares stood at 275 million, which exchanged hands in 2,736 days. Market capitalization closed at 13.2 trillion naira. Dangote Sugar, with 1 naira 5 kobo gain, led the table, followed by CCNN appreciating by 1 naira 5 kobo, while Seplat with 25 kobo loss led the losers table, followed by NEM depreciating by 25 kobo per share. Stock market report concludes business news segment for tonight. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us.
Time now for Asmau in Sokoto to take us through some reports from that zone. Hello, Asmau, you're on.
Hello, Nancy. Good evening and a warm welcome to Sokoto. Federal government has reiterated its commitment to address the challenges bedeviling the growth and development of micro, small and medium enterprises to fast-track the country's industrialization's drive. State Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment, Hajia Aisha Abubakar, dropped the hint at the World 2018 Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Day celebration held in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Datti has more.
The World Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Day is set aside by the United Nations General Assembly to highlight and celebrate the significant contributions of SMEs. In Nigeria, like in most parts of the globe, SMEs are responsible for significant employment and income generation, as well as major driver of poverty alleviation and development. However, the SMEs as a sector is faced with a lot of challenges that include finance and poor infrastructure development. Minister of Trade and Investment, Hajia Aisha Abubakar, called for more investment in the SMEs.
Bank of Industry has come up with a lot of other programs to ensure that a lot of people are able to access funding as well. The UWIN program is also ongoing for micro, small and medium enterprises. So what we've seen today again in partnership with UNIDO is something again that is going to support the micro, small and medium enterprises.
Declaring the event open, Governor Aminu Waziri Tambol, represented by the Permanent Secretary, State Ministry of Industries, Commerce and Tourism, Mande Muhammad Rikina, said state government is collaborating with UNIDO to address the numerous challenges that include lack of entrepreneurial skills on the part of operators. Regional Director, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Mr. Jen Bakule, underscored the role of small and medium enterprises to the economic growth of every country. He identified production of substandard products as one of the challenges of SMEs in the developing countries. He said UNIDO is partnering with the Nigerian government in order to boost SMEs and address their challenges. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Datti, NTA News.
Hundreds of farmlands have been destroyed by flood in Shanga local government, one of the leading rice producers in Kebbi State. Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports that Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, who sympathized with the victims, said the losses have impact on national food production.
Of over 15 communities in Shanga local government were affected by two separate flood disasters that occurred on Wednesday night this week and Tuesday last week as a result of rainfall. Some of the affected crops are sugarcane, sorghum, rice, and maize, among others. Some affected farmers described the disaster as an act of God. Governor Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, who inspected the affected farmland, sympathized with the victims and pledged to provide support to enable them to engage in dry season farming to recover from the losses incurred.
This for us is a major tragedy which will affect food production and sugarcane production significantly.
The governor acknowledged that Shanga local government has been a major contributor of rice and sugarcane production in the country. However, donated 10 million naira for immediate assistance and directed the State Emergency Management Agency to compile the list of all affected persons for further assistance. The chairman, State Emergency Management Agency, Alhaji Sani Dododo, said the agency has already swung into action. As at the time of compiling this report, over 1,000 affected farmers were registered by the agency. In Birnin Kebbi, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
And that's our package. It's back to Nancy in Abuja for more on the news. Good evening.
Thank you so much. And to money matters now. In relation with crises that arose in previous months due to disparities in the accounts presented by the Nigeria National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered the review of the revenue reporting templates between the NNPC and the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FARC. Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun, who conveyed the president's directive while giving a breakdown of how 821.9 billion naira revenue generated in June was shared to the 3 tiers of governments this July. The minister said that after deductions for cost of collections, the federal government received 283.54 billion naira. The 36 state governments received 143.81 billion naira, while the local government councils received an allocation of 110.87 billion naira.
63 million naira only, with 100 billion being transferred to the excess crude account. Where did the increase for this month arise? It's largely FIRS non-oil, which moved to 232.726 from 104.659.
Let's now take another break. Don't go away.